The Call to War. Long ago, on the island of Ithaca in ancient Greece, there lived a man named Odysseus. Though he was king of the island, Odysseus lived a simple life. He enjoyed tending his fields and orchards and working with his hands as a craftsman and carpenter. More than anything, he enjoyed the company of his family. His aged mother and father, his loving wife, Penelope, and their small son, Telemachus. One day, as Odysseus was plowing his fields, he gazed for a long time at Penelope and Telemachus. The baby was sleeping in his mother's arms under a nearby tree. Odysseus imagined that someday he would teach his son to farm the land and care for the orchards. He would teach him to sail a ship around the Greek islands. As Odysseus dreamed of his son's future, a servant ran from the palace. "A messenger from King Agamemnon has arrived," the servant shouted. Dread crept over Odysseus. He knew why the messenger had come. Agamemnon, the ruler of all the Greek islands, was calling for the kings and princes of Greece to wage war against the faraway city of Troy. A Trojan prince had kidnapped a Greek queen named Helen, taking her from her husband. "Odysseus of Ithaca," the messenger shouted, "I bring orders for you to join King Agamemnon in the fight against Troy." Odysseus glared at the man, trying desperately to think of some way to avoid leaving his family. Though he was a brave warrior and leader of men, his love for his family overshadowed all else. He loathed the thought of having to leave his home. "Odysseus," the messenger shouted, "remember, it was you yourself who first called for our countrymen to swear to defend the marriage of Helen." Odysseus remembered this well. Helen was the most beautiful woman in all the world. When she was old enough to wed, all the princes and kings of Greece had wanted to marry her. Fearing that the men's jealousies would bring their nation to ruin, Odysseus had urged them all to swear to defend Helen's marriage always, no matter who she chose for her husband. "In the name of Agamemnon, I command you to set sail at once," the man shouted. Ignoring the messenger, Odysseus began to behave in a strange way. Instead of yoking 2 oxen together to pull his plow, he yoked an ox to a small donkey. Instead of casting seeds into the furrow of his fields, he cast salt. He hoped the messenger would think he had gone mad. But the messenger suspected Odysseus was only pretending. To test him, the messenger snatched Telemachus from Penelope's arms and placed the baby in front of Odysseus's plow. Penelope screamed. Odysseus quickly turned his plow so he would not harm the boy. And in that moment, he knew he had sealed his fate. He had proved his sanity. He would now have to leave his family and answer the call to war.